maintained the rhythm, he's maintained the speed and pace. And Craig Walton, at 21 years of age, is looking to see off Greg Bennett. He's picked it up to secure runner-up position to draw clear of Chris McCormack, and Emma Carney starts to make her move. She's changed up a gear coming off the end of lap 1 and now has Loretta Harrop easily within her sights.
When we are talking about the triathlon stories in Tiszaujvaros, we have to start with the Markus family. Gabor Markus, who was the father of the family, he was a very unique person here. When he tasted the sport of triathlon as age group athlete, I don't know, many years ago, he wanted to organize something triathlon in TISZY. So the first triathlon was organized here in 1992. As I know, just a local race. The next race was much bigger, was a Hungarian championship maybe, with many athletes, many spectators. So the story started there in the first years of the 1990s. The triathlon was a very young sport, so the triathlon did 2 steps in 1 year. So the evolution was, I don't know, in 1 year was like 10 years in other sports. So it was same in TISZY. Gabor was a very popular person, so he could organize a lot of supporters, a lot of companies to help to support the race and the things of triathlon. He could involve many kids from the schools or from the friends, families. The parents come to help him to organize any kind of events, especially the triathlon. So it was like a turbulation. Was a very good time because of the politics. Very good time because of the growing economy. The people in the 90s in Hungary looked for something more, so it was a big change after the years of the communism. The world was open for them. They wanted to do some more things, so looking for other challenges. So it was a very good combination that time.
Hogy érezted, mennyire volt nehéz a verseny?
Nagyon meleg volt, Ben Sanson és én nagyon meghajtottuk a biciklizést.
És az úszás?
Az elég nehéz volt a sok versenyző miatt.
Korábban kipróbáltátok már a
Gabor was the son. Gabor Junior was a triathlete, very good triathlete, good friend of mine. We trained together many times, and we were in the same team in TISZY. So he started to the road to Sydney, so the qualification for Sydney. He was in a good position, was in the top 50 in the world ranking at that time. And after the first year of the qualification period, Gabor and Gabor Junior found out that why don't we organize a World Cup in TISZY. So shame that you don't know Gabor's mentality. So he was like a tractor. So he went over all the barriers. So unfortunately, in 1998 was a tragical accident with Gabor, the junior. He got a car accident back from international race from Croatia to home. And he died, unfortunately, and another person in the car too. So it was very hard for the family till now, I think. After that, many things changed in the club, but they were very motivated in the triathlon. So they decided that they follow organizing the World Cup. You can imagine the accident happened in June. And the World Cup coming in middle of July. So our situation. We decided, Gabor, that I will move my residence to TISZY and I will start work in a club as a coach. This kind of guy was Gabor. So you can understand if you know him.
Well, Well, the crowd once again appreciating this elite competition, loving the atmosphere with Chris McCormack 6 minutes 53 seconds for lap 5.
That race was full of emotions from every part of the organization and every guest and every athlete. So I think Gergely, who is working for the World Triathlon, he became more motivated after that year. He was involved 100% in the organization. He was the race director. But I think Gergely is in the triathlon because of this story. I think if you want to organize a very magical race, your chance is much bigger if you go to the small city like this. Every people feels that this race is a part of the life of city. Each person who is in the grandstand or around the course or in the organization, they feel that it's a little bit his or her event. This is the magic of TISZY, I think. But Gabor has another dream, to send somebody to the Olympics. He really wanted to be in the top 20 or top 10 in the World Cup, one athlete from the club. He really wanted to get an international medal, somebody from the club. But the first really good results just came after his passing. So it's nice, but it's a tragedy of him because he could be very happy now. The club, not just a World Cup, the club is another level now.
The city was born in the communist era. There was nothing here, it was fields. And during that time, triathlon was born, and very soon later, this whole festival was born. Probably this triathlon event gave a kind of identity to the city because people were not, there was nothing really like events or something which were a cohesion of the people. And this triathlon helped the city to kind of create its identity. We had no clue what we were aiming for. And okay, my father was a typical person. He was always going front and ahead, and he was dreaming big always. Not just with triathlon, but his whole life was about this, and this was his character. My older brother was doing the sport on the World Cup level, on the top level. He was attending the events, traveling around the world, aiming to qualify for Sydney. And that obviously that was our extra motivation. But when we started, basically just an example. At that time it was not emails, it was more faxes. Then the 90s was more, and our fax machine, the official fax machine of the race, was in our home. Like it was our personal machine, which was in downstairs. So many times it happened 3 a.m. Someone was trying to send a fax from Australia or from, I don't know, other side of the world. They had no clue that it's not an office, it's a home. Like our home at that time was really the office. There were people staying there, coming, helping, doing the race packages, like it was a totally different world. And of course, on this side, on the services side, on the technical side, on everything, we learned a lot from the first one, especially from the first one, but also over time, because at that time even we had the event not in this little pond, but we had the event in the river, which was pretty complicated to close the river, to make the safety, to make sure that the athletes are in safe hands.
Of the 5 previous World Cup competitions absent from today's proceedings. So Steve, this really could be anybody's, as once again we find ourselves focusing on this very interesting tactical play with such a strong current in the River Tiszaujvaros.
The accident of my brother came around 2 months before the second edition in '98. And probably if it happens 6 months before, probably we say we're out. And I'm sure that at that time from ITU, Les, Laurine, Michel, Ginu, they would have understood this. And but because it happened 2 months before, we felt we had to do it. And then, yeah, it was, yeah, it's still emotional. So we did it. And then after that we had to decide what do we do. Yeah. And then the decision was to carry on.
And he's going to be very confident, I'm sure. And Garg's out first with McCormack chasing him.
Reza Harrop builds on the back of her success in the Goodwill Games to declare top position, her first ever World Cup victory.
With my dad, it was very special because basically he passed away a few days after the event 2013. So the event happened, and then a few days later I was at home, I mean their home, and then he was going down to his dental clinic, which was underneath, and I was there, and then someone ringing the door and telling that my father is on the ground, and so it was like this. But that was his handover event. So he planned that event to hand over to Tibor, the club, and let's say the coordination of the events. He handed over. That was the year when he was still there, but Tibor was brought in more in this role, not just with the role with the athletes, but more with the role of the event. It is a golden time, or it seems to be a golden time for the Hungarian triathlon on the level of the Hungarian triathlon. There are athletes in Hungary now which are performing really, really well on the top stage, and I'm sure that this event, I'm sure that this helps. Like to have this event for them once a year, competing in front of the home crowd, to have this motivation for them always as one of their most important events to perform here well. It's a good opportunity for these athletes to perform. I think the myth of this is kind of a coincidental thing. So it's not something we planned in advance, that this is how we would like to build up the image of the event. So when we had the first event in '97, it was so big in the city, people had no clue what this will be, and like the massive crowd around the streets. And so when the athletes arrived in '97, I think I know some of them, when they stepped down the bus and they looked around and where did we arrive? And then they said, okay, let's leave this place. It's dodgy and it's and then of course they stayed, and like that contrast what we had on the race day with all these people on the streets and cheering and the party and the music and everything was something so contradictory and a big contrast. And then the athletes went to party and they had a good time, and I think that somehow just picked up in the coming years. And after we kind of tried to build on these unplanned things from the beginning. So with that things around the event. So it's not just an event, but a little bit more than the event. And for example, we are bringing the top 15 up on the stage on Sunday. It's so important for the locals, and it's like it doesn't really happening in other events. But here it's just so important to show the best athletes. We can't bring everyone up on the stage. It's not big enough, but at least we are bringing this up. We are bringing them up who are receiving prize money. So it's something comes with the event. These kind of special things.